we have a need to move on. One day, the leading disciple of the Buddha, Ananda, asked him, "Master, what is the relationship between the world and the Dharma?" And the Buddha responded, "There is no difference between the world and the Dharma. The world and the Dharma are made up of the aggregate of the 18 levels relative to the senses. Those 18 levels, firstly, are the 6 sense organs: the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the heart, and the mind. And there are the 6 acts of those senses: the act of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling, and perceiving, and the 6 consciousnesses of the senses: the awareness of smelling, tasting, feeling, and perceiving." And Ananda said, "But Master, you have referred to the Dharma as being empty." And the Buddha said, "The act of emptiness is being empty of something, and fullness is the act of perceiving something. But Ananda, the greatest meditation of all is the meditation on emptiness." Whilst we were away, and every year that we do so, there's a theme for the workshops and the meditations. And this year the theme of the meditations and workshops was the death of love, the passage to the absence of illusion. And it seems, and perhaps this can be put to those who accompanied us, that after the stories and the workshops, which helped to enact what was this death of love, it seems that the consensus that came about was that when love dies, all that's left is love. And during the act of our meditations and workshops, a personal anecdote was told, which allows a question to be posed to you. That personal anecdote was about the time when, after being with Divine Mother for several years, one morning when I awoke and I started to do my yoga asanas, as was the everyday practice, I suddenly fell on my knees, sobbing. When I got up, I picked up the telephone and I said to Divine Mother, "Divine Mother, the love has gone." And she said to me, "Come now, I've been waiting for this." So I took myself off to her house, still crying, and she said, "It was the wrong kind of love." When I'd stopped my sobbing, thought about what she'd said, I thought to myself, what does she mean? She has always said there's only one power, and that is the power of love. How can she say it was the wrong kind of love? So the question is posed to you, as it was to others, but taking it another step. Why was it the wrong kind of love? Why was it the wrong kind of love? And how can it be said, when love dies, that all that's left is love?
So was it love that was coming from you, like from yourself, and not from God, like a God love, like letting that God love or something like that, was it?
I leave this question for you because it's very important for us now, relative to this little story of the Buddha and Ananda. So if we can answer this question, why was it the wrong kind of love? We can perhaps, as you say, is it left then that this is God's love? And if we say God's love, then we're making something out of God and something out of love.
If there's a wrong love, then there must be a right love.
That's right.
And if you haven't found the right love, then you're still learning. It's a lesson.
That's right.
You're still to seek the right
That's
love.
right. It is so.
We can only make an assumption what is the right love.
Right.
Maybe wrong love is something that feels painful, while the other one.
Because as the question from Ananda to the Buddha, when he refers to it to be empty, is empty of something, to be full is to be full of something. And if we say love, then we're full of something, aren't we? And that relates to an identity, a self. Because there has to be a self that has the act of loving, whether it be the wrong kind of love or what we could say is universal love. Isn't that so?
Yeah. Because really we separate from it then, don't we?
We certainly do. Because the
We put
senses
a label
themselves
on it or something.
have no reality. The senses have no reality.
So Divine Mother was rather astute to realise, well, call it astute if you like the word, to realise that that point was the point of dissolution.
Absolutely. This is why she said, I've been waiting for this. Come now. So where are we moving to with this, would you imagine? To meditate on emptiness is the greatest meditation of all. How can we meditate on emptiness? We can only meditate on emptiness when we're empty.
In the meantime, like when you're meditating, we have thoughts and ideas like of the world. So that is in a sense the fullness or our mind's creation. So by realizing that somewhere, does it just go away? Like, because you see that it's a creation of the mind and there's nothing real there.
Absolutely.
I guess one thing I sort of got out of these workshops was that everybody has their own ideas of what love is or what this is, and their own story of life. But none of it is real. It's only a make-up in relation to the self.
Yes.
So the job really is to no longer have that story somehow, and perhaps the only way to do that is to continually look at that story, and somewhere there's a realization that at some point we made that up.
Yes.
Even if it's as a child, how we perceive the situation, our mind somehow has created everything.
So I'm sure it's been said to you, as it has been said to others over these many years, don't make real what is not real. What does that mean for us? Don't make real what's not real.
It's getting caught in what your story.
Yes, absolutely.
And it seems so absolutely real, and many people you see, like they just can't get past that.
That's right.
I mean, that is real, that's absolute, there is no questioning, and no matter, there's no way through in that sense.
Right.
And, you know, for me, I suppose all I could do was start by negating that,
Yes.
in a sense, to, I wouldn't even know how quite to put it, but somewhere there, the realization that it is all in your head, and, you know, from there at least there's a little bit of an opportunity, a little bit of an opening to try to get past it in some way, or
Yes.
try to drop that story.
Right on. So the mind will always come back to not being able to make real what's not real. Anything that changes is not real.
And that's everything.
And that's everything.
I mean, even the form we drop.
Absolutely. So how do we then contemplate or meditate on emptiness? Is that something that we can actually act upon?
Not until, like, you're either empty or you're not.
Right.
And until you've reached that point, then there's always the mind and the story, and all we can do is recognize it as that. Would
Right.
that be correct?
So is that a starting point? If the mind will always come back to recognizing that whatever is occurring is fundamentally not real, is that our point of pondering and meditating on emptiness?
Seems reasonable. Reasonable starting point.
Yes. Absolutely. So moving right along. Thank you.